Good morning and welcome to this week's Wednesday's reflection. In some denominations, changes of pastoral appointments happen. In some of their constitutions, it's decided by others where pastors in good standing will spend the next year or more of their ministry. This consultation will happen a number of months before between churches speaking about their current pastors and their hopes for future pastoral leadership. Of course, there is consultation and then there is consultation. Some churches get a lot of conversation around their futures and others get very little. This can be hard in any denomination when a pastor has been there for a long time. Congregations don't want to give them up and look for someone that they don't know anything about. If it was someone who was cherished and I am not sure I would want to be the one to take over for them, this would be big shoes to fill. The reading I share with you now comes from 2 Kings 2, which we also will hear read on Sunday, and it describes the transition of the prophetic leadership of Israel. Let me share it with you. When the Lord was about to take Elijah up to heaven in a whirlwind, Elijah and Elisha were on their way from Gilgal. Elijah said to Elisha, "Stay here, the Lord has sent me to Bethel." But Elisha said, "As surely as the Lord lives and as you live, I will not leave you." So they went down to Bethel. The company of the prophets of Bethel came out to Elisha and asked, "Do you know the Lord is going to take your master from you today?" "Yes, I know," Elisha replied, "so be quiet." Then Elisha said to him, "Stay here, Elisha. The Lord has sent me to Jericho." And he replied, "As surely as the Lord lives and as you live, I will not leave you." So they went to Jericho. The company of the prophets at Jericho went up to Elisha and asked him, "Do you know that the Lord is going to take your master from you today?" "Yes, I know," he replied, "so be quiet." Then Elijah said to him, "Stay here. The Lord has sent me to the Jordan." And he replied, "As surely as the Lord lives and as you live, I will not leave you." So the two of them walked on. 50 men from the company of the prophets went and stood at a distance, facing the place where Elijah and Elisha had stopped at the Jordan. Elijah took his cloak, rolled it up, and struck the water with it. The water divided to the right and to the left, and the two of them crossed over on dry ground. When they had crossed, Elijah said to Elisha, "Tell me, what can I do before I am taken from you?" "Let me inherit a double portion of your spirit," Elisha replied. "You have asked a difficult thing," Elijah said. "Yet if you see me when I am taken from you, it will be yours. Otherwise, it will not." As they were walking along and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses appeared and separated the two of them, and Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elisha saw this and cried out, my father, the chariots and horsemen of Israel." And Elisha saw him no more. Then he took hold of his garment and tore it in two. Elijah had flitted about throughout the land for years doing his ministry, doing supernatural deeds, confronting pagan priests and evil kings, and generally making life richer for the marginalized and miserable for the powerful, I read. This is what the Israelite prophets had been known for. Like Ahab, the potent king of the northern country of Israel, whose desire to have a vegetable garden near his palace led to murder of Naboth and the confiscation of his land, and then to the appearance of the trembling Elijah, who seems to know all and is ready to call any and all to account in the name of God, or as God was referred to in the Old Testament, Yahweh. Now, Elijah's time of ministry has passed, and his disciple or student, Elisha, is about to discover all the difficulties of being his successor. Surely, it would make sense to have some sort of elaborate retirement celebration for Elijah with speeches and a grand banquet and an appropriate gift. Maybe, as one commentary suggested, even a silver-plated chariot to ride off into a comfortable old age in. Wow, that certainly sounds grand, don't you think? But Elijah never seems to do things as expected or in any sort of traditional way. Instead of riding off in a chariot, we hear how he is taken off into heaven in a whirlwind. Talk about an exit, don't you think? But first, before this happens, we hear how Elijah makes another journey throughout Israel. First, he announces to Elisha that Yahweh has sent him off to Bethel. And as we heard, he tells Elisha to remain and he will go on alone. This journey represented one through old Israelite history, from the days of Saul and Samuel and their confrontations at Gilgal, a place known for its hoary history. And I also read back to the time of Jacob, who blessed Bethel during the time when he fled from his brother Esau. But Elisha would not let him make this journey alone. It seems that Elisha knew too well how fast Elijah would go from one place to the next, and no one would know where he would turn up next. So it is understandable that Elisha would feel the need to stay close by. Then twice more, Elijah tries to shake his student by telling him that the trip to Bethel was just a short trip, which would lead first to Jericho and then a longer trip to the mountains toward the Dead Sea and finally to the Jordan River. And we hear at each of these spots, Elisha is told that today would be the day that his master would be taken from him by Yahweh. The prophet Elijah would soon be gone. What would you do if leadership was thrust upon you? Would you be ready? I don't know. Each time Elisha hears the taunts, his reply is that he already knows. So just be quiet. I can almost imagine him thinking to himself, I'm not ready. I know my day is coming, but I'm not ready. When they come to the Jordan River, Elijah reenacts an event in Israel's long saga. He takes his cloak, he rolls it up and strikes the river, and the water is parted. I'm sure you all can recall a similar story that I know I have shared on more than one occasion with a Sunday school class. It made for a great craft activity with Moses parting the sea during the people's exodus from Egypt. And then they cross over on the dry land, and the master asks his pupil the question that has been asked by students over. Tell me what I can do for you before I'm taken from you. But how can any student reply to such a question? Make me smarter? Make me wiser, more eloquent? Tell me what I need to read, what I need to know, how I need to act. Elisha's response is classic and very important. He says, please let me inherit a double portion of your spirit. It's not really clear exactly what it is that Elisha wants. Maybe to have twice what Elijah had possessed in his full, twice the gifts, twice the words, twice the spirit. No wonder Elijah says that he has made a very hard request to grant. Whatever has sustained Elijah through the joys and sorrows of his ministry, Elisha wants that. He needs that. And amazingly, Elijah promises that if he witnesses his dramatic exit from earth, that he will indeed receive the spirit he needs. Whether or not you are ordained, we are all part of this story. We are where we are because maybe many someones told us a story that, well, it compelled us and called us to follow the way of Jesus. I know I am very grateful to all those who have told me this story, who live the story for me, and who have continued to provide strength and guidance for me every day. For those who are exploring ministry or have begun the journey and know there is much left to do, I offer my prayers for you. I really do. For all of us, whatever shape our ministry takes, I offer you this beautiful blessing by Jan Richardson, author, artist, and United Methodist minister. A blessing to take up your cloak or mantle again and again and walk with wisdom and hope, telling the story as we go. Blessing of Elijah. Make no mistake, the blessing that comes like hands laid upon your head a mantle draped across your shoulders. You do not bear it alone. Think of it as lineage, as litany, an ancient legacy entwining you among the strands that weave through generations and centuries, that spiral with the enduring and determined grace of the story that has seized you and the one who has claimed and called you. Take heart that the blessing comes to you singed and scorched, signed by the blazing of wonders you can barely imagine, and by trials that have already tested you, or you would not have found your way this far. Lay it down, and it will be a path for you, across terrain you have never imagined daring to cross. Take it up, and know the presence of those who have passed this on to you, who encompass you, who enfold you, who go with you and release you into the keeping of the road that is your own, and the one who is called your name. May we each find words to inspire us, and the blessing to Alicia, blessing from Elijah, that we are all on this journey, as this week we embark on the journey of Lent, and what all that means for each of us, to be transformed into something new, to see things in a new light. May we each find our way through this journey ahead. Blessings on your week.